Hi guys, this is Nick here with Triaxis Machine Tool, and we're going to show you how we go about making our ejector block for the soap saver that Timeless Razor is about to come out with. So to get started, I got a new work zone in Worknc. We're going to name it Ejector Video for this sake, and we'll give it a program name called Ejector. And sometimes I'll make a comment in here, name that it's maybe the material's P20. Material, anything else I wanted to say, I'll pop in there. And we'll go in here and on the geometry tab, we'll hit add. We'll go and add our ejector block and hit open. It'll bring it in there and down to stock amount. On the stock, we'll just go solid block and hit create this work zone. Let it launch up here. And we'll start to program this as soon as we bring it into the Worknc. First thing we'll need to do is position it properly. So we'll hit OK there. Had a problem reading something about it. We'll find out what that was. Hit OK. If I go to top view, I'm do a quick little look, see if I want to make any changes in CAD mode. But first thing we're going to do is do this back side, drill all these holes. Most of them are clearance holes and a couple bolt holes. So if I go to top view, I need to flip this around. So I'm going to open up this section here. I'll go into CAD mode. This button toggles me from CAD to CAM. So in CAD mode, I have other toolbars here. So I'll go and create a mold function, and it'll be a bounding box. And I'll left click and just drag and right click, get a bounding box. And I'll click on this little UCS button here, and I'll click in this section, and it's going to be the bottom middle is what I want to work with. But I need to flip it over. So I'll click on bottom middle, hit OK, and it made the cam axis right here the new bounding box, which is on the back side. But Z is currently going in the wrong direction. So if I right click on this, I click modify and just hit invert Z and close that out, and it flipped it over, which is exactly the way I need it to be. And once that's set, you'll right click one more time and hit apply as the machining axis and hit validate, and it'll show a little gray halo of where the machine would be, and I'll right click on there to process that out. And to get rid of this gray sheet body, I'll just click on this machine button right there. And I'll go to top view again, snap that back into where I'm looking at it. I'll hold the shift button down and right click, and I can rotate around without having to click on any rotate tools, kind of get a good look at what I'm working with. So we got to drill all these holes and tap some. So let's go into functions, drilling manager. Click on that. First thing we want to do in here is go sort, and we'll just left click and drag until you get to your whole block, and then right click to confirm. And it finds all the cylinders that your parameter tab has filtered out. The default settings are usually perfectly fine. Let's go in here and define what they are. So the 531s are counter bores. If I right click, I'll go in here and change them to counter bore. 406 is a clearance hole, drilled hole, drilled hole. Tap. I don't need to click on tapping, hit OK, and that's a tap hole. Hit OK. So blues are tapped, reds are drilled, and pinks are counter bores. Let's see how long it takes us to get these done. Let's get the taps done first. Click on that, go to manual. I have a strategy set up, quarter 20s, so I'll click on a strategy folder. I'll go in here and click on quarter 20 with a hypercarb. So I just hypercarb drill, spot chamfer, tap. Copy that, and it'll give me these motions here. First thing it's going to do, if I want to make any changes, I'll click on one at a time and make changes, but I have it saved out exactly the way I want quarter 20 holes to go, so I'm just going to hit OK, and it'll take care of those. Those are tapped holes. Let's go manual, open up a strategy for 3/8/16 with a hypercarb, hit copy, don't make any changes, hit OK, let that process out. And if I check on this box, it'll start getting rid of all the holes that are not machined yet. So the only thing I'm left with are these three. And with this automatic drilling section, it'll take care of these very fast. I'll hold the shift button down, automatic. I'll load up my Triaxis machining selection here. Automatic hole works with these. There's three folders. This one going on, your machine, and your tool library that is attached to your machine. So I have it all set up the way I want it. First thing I want to do, though, is I always go in here and click on this edit button, just give it a look on these drilled holes to make sure. I need a drill in my library that has 344 and a 406. If I don't have them in there, this won't work. But I do have them in there. I mainly want to look at counterbore, mostly the depth. So I'll double click on that depth, and if I want to make a change, I'll just swipe that out and type in a change, but I'll just leave it the way it is. Hit OK. So everything looks fine. I didn't really make any changes. I just wanted to go in there and show you if you wanted to make changes, you can. Very simple in Worknc. Close this out. I don't need to save any changes. And so all I did was look in there, Triaxis. I'm not making any more adjustments. I'll hit execute. And then I have no more holes in that list here. I'll close this out, and all my holes are being taken care of right here. C minuses are meaning this is waiting to process out. So I'll right click on that and let them start processing those out. Once they start processing, I can go click here. And automatics, look at that. They already beat the manuals with processing out. So I'll go and click on that. There's my center drill. 344 drilled holes. 406 drilled holes. Counterbores, I have it set up to use a 1/4" end mill and just kind of spiral down. If I right click in there and I'll hit simulate, and I'll slow this down by going back here, and I'll click on this, and you can kind of see how it'll just spiral that down. I realize there's a quicker way if you wanted to take an end mill and spot plunge it, or a bigger end mill, but for now, I have a 1/4" end mill in there, and I like to make that my go-to cutter for all the counterbores. It kind of works out really well. Spirals down real nice. This goes in there and finishes them up just the way I want them. And I would like a chamfer on all those holes, and look at that. Worknc's automatic section automatically gives me a chamfer hole. Chamfers the top of the counterbore, and it gets down into that drilled hole for me. I don't have to even think about hitting the wall with any cutter. It automatically is going to recognize everything and just do what it needs to do. So that's all set up the way we want. Boom, open these trees up if I want to look at them. There's my 201 hypercarb, spot chamfer. Actually, that's a contour chamfer. And tapping. If I wanted to make any changes to that, I would click on this button here and go back into, bring me into this area here. And if I wanted to say, hey, look at that tap, and I have my tool here, which is a 1/4". If I want to make any changes, I would, like the depth that it goes, and like so on and so forth. My chamfer, same thing. I can go in here, click on operation, and look at what's going on. I have a chamfer depth of 25 thousandths. It kind of shows me a little red halo of what's going to go on. I'm not going to make any changes to this page, so I'm just going to cancel out of there. I just wanted to go in there and show you what it looks like. So that's how easy we program these holes here at Triaxis Machine Tool. And the only other thing I want to do is, see how the red is over there? These surfaces? Well, that is my offset corner of my block, and I want to engrave it right here, offset, and I usually give it some type of name. So The way we can engrave that real easy is I can go back into CAD mode and I'll create a text. I'll fit it to a rectangle, and don't worry about positioning too much here, but just left click and then get a rectangle and left click one more time and it plops you to this page. I'll click in it and start typing. Get the caps lock on. I'll use offset. It's P20 material and it's for timeless razor and it's the soap saver mold. So timeless razor is the company. Soap saver is the name of this job. I'll change my font to this Aegis, but you have a lot of different fonts to choose from. So I just hit OK, plop it in there with this OK button, and if you don't like the positioning, it's real easy to change that by just going in and edit your text that you just created. Hover over to your text till it highlights, click on it, right click, and with these buttons here, if I swipe in there, I can see how with my middle mouse button I can just drag this, just get it just where I want it. Do my ratio, if I want it to be smaller or bigger, I'll just change these numbers a little bit and kind of show you what all you can do with this. You can change the height same way. And even go into the fonts and click on different fonts, and with your middle mouse button you can just keep scrolling down till you see what you like. There's a gazillion of them, so I'm just going to go back to my go-to font, which is this Aegis one, which is the single point, kind of like a pencil trace. I like that one. Hit OK, and it's right where I want it. So once I have it positioned where I want it, I'll go into transform, explode, text to curves, and I'll go over to the text and right click and it'll explode it and plop it on this layer, which is fine for me. I'll hit OK. And we'll close this little section out here by clicking this upper bar. So now that we have it exploded, I can rotate a little bit, zoom out. I'll take my yellow block off by clicking on this button, and I'm only left with my blue kind of text. We'll right click down here, new tool path. Actually, first we're going to go and create new curve. So we'll go create, go to cam mode, go to cam axis entities, and we'll create a new curve set. And we'll just, you can create curves with these kind of rectangles, circles, point to point, 2 points, or just window stuff that you have on the screen, and it'll plop them into this area here, and I can zoom way in, and if you want to change directions of each character, you can go and change all these, but I'm just going to let them play out the way they are, and I'll name that engrave. Hit OK, and now that I have a curve named engrave over here, I can right click in here and I'll import a sequence right here, and I have engraved with this Millstar cutter that I actually use for a center drill as well, and I'll click OK, and it's made for on curve engraving. Hit OK there and plop it right in this section here. Give it a mass edit with this all button and hit execute. It's looking for the curve that is named engrave. That's why I named that curve engrave. If I wanted to pick a different curve, I can easily just go in this section right here and click a different curve. Cancel that. Everything's looks just the way I want it. It's going to go 10,000 steep. It's going to give you a nice approach radius of 40 thou, which could be a little bit big, but for now we'll just leave it like that. And the lead outs and lead ins are the same. Hit OK and let it execute out. And it'll start to process that on curve engraving. Turn my block back on. Go to top view. We'll give it a quick little look on that on curve engraving just to make sure it looks, yep, it's got the lead in arc, lead off real nice. And if I right click on there and I'll hit simulate, I'll slow this down. It'll go in there and I'll slow that way down. And look at that. It's going to go in there and go all around all those characters and come right off and on, real nice and gentle. Close. And that's it, folks. That's as fast as we can make this back half of this block.